Might be a small wrap up, but it's a wrap up nonetheless. Today I've got a little wrap up. I haven't actually read that much. I've only got 4 books here, but I'm just gonna crack on, and one of them was a DNF, so haven't read a lot. I was still sort of in my bit of a reading slump after being ill, so it took a while to actually get back into reading and get back sort of enjoying my life again. So the first book that I'll talk about is this one, which was Help Me by Katie Beers. I did haul this not very long ago, and I did say that I thought it might be a DNF because it seemed to be really because it seemed to be such a hard subject, so graphic and pretty horrific. Basically it's about a little girl who's is being sexually abused by her godparents, and then she gets kidnapped by a paedophile who locks her in his dungeon. He's built a dungeon custom built for her, and it was horrible. It's a true life story obviously, but there's just, I'm usually quite good with quite dark subjects, but this one was just too much. It was horrific. I mean, it's written quite well. It's written sort of a chapter will focus on the girl's perspective and what was going on in her world at the time, and then the next chapter is a journalist who is covering the case, and she's talking about what was happening on the outside, so you get like a all-round perspective of what was going on. So what's happening to Katie while she's underground, what's happening to the outside world when they're starting to look at the man who's taken her, and but it's just, I mean, it was just too hard for me to read. It was just too upsetting. So yeah, so it was a DNF, but not because it was badly written or anything like that. It was just because I just personally found it just too hard to read about. Next up is Nowhere Child, which is the follow-up to Stranger Child by Rachel Abbott. This is a short novel. Let's see, how many pages? 163. So this is 163 pages long. It didn't take too long to get through. It's, as I've said before, I absolutely loved Stranger Child by Rachel Abbott. This, I don't know if it was because there wasn't as long to actually develop the ideas. I actually guessed what was going to happen in this before it did, which I've never been able to do with a Rachel Abbott book before. And yeah, so this one only got 3 stars. I didn't enjoy it as much as the other books by Rachel Abbott. Next up, I've got Forever by Judy Blume. This is a reread. I read this as part of my reading challenge this year, which was to read a book I haven't read since high school, and this one is it. It's a YA about first love, first everything, with Catherine and Michael, a couple, and it basically sort of follows their relationship as it unwinds, and as it blossoms, and what the consequences are, and yeah, it covers young love really well. So I enjoyed this. I don't think I enjoyed it as much second time round as I did when I first read it, but then I suppose it was aimed more at my age group the first time I read it, and now I'm sort of past this sort of I'm past sort of first love and things like that now, so I found it a little bit less relatable, but it's still a good solid 3 out of 5. And finally I read The Collector by John Fowles. I read this as a buddy read with Eleanor Reads Books, and the pair of us weren't really blown away. It's just, I mean, this has been quite hyped and people have loved it, and for me it just sort of lacked something. I personally really enjoyed the first half of the book because it's written by the perspective of a kidnapper and his victim. The first half of the book is written by the kidnapper, is written from the kidnapper's point of view, and the writing style is absolutely beautiful, and the literary references that are in this I loved, and yeah, I just thought the writing style was absolutely fantastic. And going off the first half of the book, I was kind of expecting it to be maybe a 4 or 5 star read, but as you went into the second part of the book, it got into the female's point of view, the kidnappee, and I found it irritating. I didn't connect with her. She annoyed me. I found her really full of herself. it wasn't very good for me, and it just sort of rehashed over everything that he'd said from her point of view, so it was just different conversations. And then I also found her really, she was an educated girl, but I also found her really quite stupid. Like, she did things that were unbelievable to the rest of her character, and no, just no. So for the fact that I really enjoyed the first part of the book and the writing style alone, I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. But story-wise, it would have been more like a 1.5 to 2. So I didn't really enjoy that much. So those are the only books that I've read this month, and yeah, I've already started some more, so hopefully I'm going to be getting through a few more books this month. And the weather's getting a little bit nicer, she says, as it's been raining today, but the sun appears to be coming out a bit, so I'm hoping that summer's going to eventually arrive here, hopefully, and I'll be able to get more books read as I'm outside in the sun in the garden. So yeah, I'll speak to you all soon after that little ramble. Bye!